Hello and welcome to the Hooniverse podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Glucker. Our friend Ron Baugh is not with us this week because he has to do work, which is, boo on him. We'll talk to him next week and we'll get back to things and we'll get rolling. But we do have a guest this week, another wonderfully named person, Jeff Chu from Nextbase. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Jeff? Also?
Doing all right. Thank you for coming on. Jeff is, I believe, the vice president of marketing for Nextbase. Maybe is that the right title?
Correct, for North America. So just
Great.
this side.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you got to raid people's LinkedIn to get the right title, but I don't think I've updated mine in 2 years, so I don't know. I'm just going to dive right into it because it seems like our first taste of dash cams, and I mean this on a general consumer level, was with folks fascinated by a bunch of videos coming out from other countries capturing crazy stuff. Does that sound right, at least for the American consumer acknowledgement of dash cams?
Yeah, 100%. It's honestly a little bit of a blessing and a curse. The awareness of dash cams has been amazing because the first thing I say when I mention Nextbase dash cams, they think, "Oh, crazy Russian videos."
Yeah.
I think we've all seen the guys running around with grizzly bears in their cars and
Yeah.
guys running after each other with machetes. So we have a lot of awareness, but not a lot of relatability sometimes in some of those videos.
Yeah. No, I remember one that I was like, I need a dash cam. It was when a Russian guy was driving and captured like a meteorite streaking through the sky. And I was like, I know the reasons why I should want a dash cam, but that's like a bonus feature to capture space. It seemed so cool at the time.
No, 100%. I caught myself just sitting there and watching hours and hours of dash cam footage before I started working at Nextbase. So
Yeah.
I got a full many
It's
hours of
it's
lost
marketing
time.
research though. So that's
Exactly.
good stuff. Um,
Exactly.
So how have dash cams evolved since those first offerings started arriving here in the States? What's changed with dash cams?
Yeah, so what's changed with dash cams is a dash cam is a pretty, basic name for a pretty complex product, It's kind of like calling a an iPhone a phone, it's still a phone, but it does so much more. And that's kind of where we're going with dash cams nowadays. I think a lot of people from those Russian videos and historical viral videos in the past very much are just kind of like a basic camera that films in your car. But nowadays, with the technology and innovation, specifically from Nextbase, it's really kind of changed the game of becoming a smart piece of technology that you can actually interact with. And it isn't a passive camera in your windshield anymore. It's actually something that we try to make people safer, a little bit more easier to use, and easier to share, and just kind of have an active piece of tech versus a very passive
Sure.
piece of tech.
That seems like a something that'd be pretty important is making sure that the customer goes into it and making it as easy as possible. How do you guys do something like that for the consumer?
Yeah, it comes from top to bottom, inside and out. We at Nextbase, we design everything from the ground up. Um, one of the most basic fundamental things that people overlook is even just the way things are designed, not from a usability standpoint, but just the physical design of it. And you'll notice a lot of dash cams typically will have a big old suction cup hanging from the dash cam above, which takes up a lot of you know
Real
space in your
estate.
windshield, real
Yeah.
estate in your windshield, when you need to be looking at what's happening in front of you. The last thing you need is obstruction in front of you. So the way that we design these things is just with this click and go pro mount, which has 113, I think, unique patents on it. But
Wow.
just having it mounted in the front of the dash cam like this allows you to, almost like an iPhone again, only see the screen. You're not getting any additional visual obstruction. So it's a really tight, sleek mounting design, and it's also magnetic, so everything's powered, and the GPS and the power goes into the mount. So when you want to get in the car or leave the car, you just stick it on the magnetic mount, and it all aligns. So those really small details have really made it innovative in that way. But then also the way that's easier to use, from the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. Everything's connected to your phone nowadays, so we want it
Mhm.
to be as easy as that. Um, and also, with Alexa, we have Alexa. I know some people really love having that voice control ability. You're really able to have some nice hands-free options while driving, and making things easier. And whether it's keeping yourself organized with, map me to my next meeting, or play my favorite playlist, or even
Right.
the Nextbase commands of like, hey, Nextbase, save that recording, or mute the audio, whatever it may be. Make sure that your hands are on the wheel and your eyes are on the road the whole time.
That's awesome. Um, what do you think is, so we're talking about, what you guys have done to make it easier for consumers. What do you think is next for dash cam tech, or what other products do you have coming down the road that you can talk about that, move the space even further along?
Yeah, no, we have a lot of great tech from our existing line that's actually graduating into our next line. There's a lot of good stuff that is life-saving for dash cams with the emergency SOS and things that can directly send emergency life support to your location if you got in a severe accident without any human intervention. And they're making things even smarter now with a new announcement of our new product called the Nextbase IQ, which is slated to launch in fall of 2022. A lot of great feedback that we've heard from media and tech reviews at CES where we announced it. We actually won, I think, about 7 awards for best of CES for this product. But it's the first truly smart dash cam using AI, spatial awareness, and advanced driver safety procedures overlaid on the high end resolution video that we already take. So you get these multi layers of proximity sensing and video and AI just really working to be a super duty machine for your car that really takes it to that next level of smart connected innovation that a lot
Mhm.
of people are used to in like smart home and
Right.
security features.
So does the camera do all of that on its own, or does it have to work with the vehicle to do a lot of that stuff?
A lot of it's on its own, actually. What's actually pulling from the vehicle is mostly just power. We have a OBD port access on the IQ that's drawing the power from the car battery to ensure that you have a nice steady source of power. So you obviously don't want a battery to die while right before you get in an accident, or if your car's parked in a parking lot for a week and a half or whatever it is while you're in Switzerland or wherever. Um, so it's actually mostly coming from the brain inside the processor of the dash cam. We work again from the ground up. We design our own processors with the chipset manufacturer. So everything we do from the existing Series 2 product to the new IQ product is designed from the ground up with our with our chipset manufacturing partner, which makes it unique because it allows us to be very accurate with everything that we do. But at the same time, it allows us to innovate and really tweak what people need for driving and for vehicle safety, whether it's park driving. It's actually really hard to record just on the basic idea of a dash cam. Just recording in a car is actually very hard because you're doing artificial light, daylight, nighttime, clouds, rain, vibration from the vehicle. There's a lot of things happening in a car that you don't typically have to deal with an an action camera or a phone or whatever it may be. Um, so by creating the chipset from the ground up, it allows us to do that very well, tune it perfectly for that, and then also start laying in these innovation layers like the AI and
Mhm.
the cellular data connection and the spatial awareness.
It's interesting you bring that up about how difficult it is. I mean, it's great self-awareness of a company to be like, this is very difficult to do what we wanted to do, so we have to do all these things. It's almost like if you could get the Tesla people to admit like, oh, full self-driving, like, no, 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 it needs to do like what you just said, like cloudy days, read road signs, blah, blah, blah. And that's not just camera, that's sensors, that's all this extra stuff. It's kind of a funny tie in there. But it's good to hear a company be like, no, 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 this isn't easy. This is very difficult to do, and it's just not. I don't want to say just, but it's literally you're recording video out the front, and for it to be like, here's why this is hard. We're not like tossing like ND filters, polarizing filters. Like that's not just the answer to fix a lot of these problems. It's more than that. So that's neat to hear. Um,
Yeah.
Now, another thing I like that I'm curious what your thoughts are, and I don't know if this is solely a Nextbase thing, but I really like the modularity of the cameras in that I thought it was really neat when, I opened the package because to those of you listening, Nextbase sent me a few cameras to try out, and I currently have the 622, which is their current top spec model, in the Montero. But one thing that was neat is on the side of it, you can pop in, because we were going to run a rear camera off the back of the Montero in addition to the thing, but the people installing it said it would be a pain in the ass to install it where my headliner is without to hide the wires to do it neat. It's like, oh, okay. But including in the kit is you can pop into the side of the camera like an in-car or like wide angle. You can do a couple different things. I thought that was pretty neat. How unique is the modularity to the Nextbase lineup of cameras?
Yeah, we were the first ones to do it, and it's actually a patented design by us. Of course, there's people that you don't know what comes out of China. There's a lot of the dash cam companies coming out of China, so there's a lot of things that we're dealing with. But
Sure.
it was our idea, it was our concept to really, we wanted people to have the ability to choose what resolution and what features they wanted out of their main core dash camera, but we didn't want them to be limited to what point of view they wanted from the rear, because everyone has a different driving style. Whether they wanted a basic protection from just their front, or a more robust protection in the rear, which three options that we provide. One is a traditional rear window camera, like this one, where it actually fits in the back of the window into the back window. It still runs a cord to the main camera, and then through this mini HDMI port on the side, it you just plug in the camera that you want to use, and it'll give you the option for modularity in the rear window. So you have the rear window camera, and then we have two other cameras that's attached to the side, just like whammo, and it's one is a cabin camera, which is similar to a what you'd find in a Uber or a rideshare car. So it's all cabin interior, which is not just only for Uber drivers and rideshare drivers, but it's great for parents, families, road trippers, a lot of van lifers and stuff like that,
Oh
and
yeah,
even
yeah.
like fleet guys who like construction fleet people who have a lot of equipment in the back of their car
Oh
with
sure.
the parking mode. It's a nice little extra piece of assurance to make sure whatever's happening in the car, whether it's your family or thousands of dollars worth of gear in the back, that it's all getting recorded, and a little bit added layer of security there. And then we have one last one, which is a rear zoom. So this one's actually really nice. It attaches to the side as well, but it mounts in the front of your window, and it shoots out the back window almost like a rear view mirror. So it's really easy to install if you're, for example, an Uber driver, or you're jumping between cars or whatever it is, and you have this nice magnetic mount system. You could, jump in your rideshare car if you're an Uber driver, pick up a couple jobs, and then on your way, after you drop off your last customer, you're just doing your daily driving. So plug in your rear window camera with a matter of seconds, just swap the camera, and you'll have the protection that you need for whatever situation that you're driving in. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's unique to us, and we're actually really proud of it. It's a really nice, fun system.
Yeah, no, I've played with it a little bit on my truck, and it's definitely a cool add-on, especially because my vehicle's older, so there's less places to hide wires. And so when they told me they couldn't do that, I was like, oh, okay. But then I remembered the modularity options. I was like, oh, I can kind of solve it without needing to go full right on the back. So it worked out really well. Um, so of your current lineup, can you tell me why someone would pick your lowest model in terms of price, but then also why someone would want to pick your higher up stuff? Like someone shopping and they just need a basic, what would the lowest model offer them?
Yeah, the lowest models are 122, and we have a great thing about Nextbase is we really offer a solution for anybody, just because you know everybody needs a dash cam in general, because there's a layer of, I'm not trying to sell the product, but I'm just saying that it gives you a layer of security, and it just and eventually it'll pay for itself, whether it's through an incident or insurance or something. It's not if but when, kind of like that
Mhm.
motorcycle saying of,
Sure.
when did you lay down your motorcycle?
Right.
um, but it's an if but when, so eventually it will pay for itself, probably, and hopefully in a good way. But we do have a baseline entry level at the 122 at 59.99, and then we have price points, six different models up to the 622, which is 399. Um, but yeah, at the basic entry level, all of our dash cams come with a screen in the back, so you get a nice LCD screen. They all come with parking mode. So parking mode is if someone hits your car, while you're parked and you're obviously away. Then the dash cam will go into parking mode, which means that it is sensing if anything has made impact with your car. If it has made impact, then it'll automatically wake up out of its sleep mode, and then then it'll start recording for 3 minutes. So, for example, I go to Starbucks, go get a coffee, come back, and there's a ding on my car. I don't have to just eat the cost to fix that ding anymore. I can go to my camera. If it's a smart connected camera that works with my phone, it'll give me an app notification that says, "Hey, something went down. Check out your phone." Or if I saw the dent on my car on the base models, then I just go into the lock footage, because in the parking mode it'll automatically lock. I'll go to the lock files, just check it out on the screen itself while I'm at the or at the at the parking lot, and say, "Oh, this is the guy that hit me." Download, send to the insurance, call it good.
Wow.
So
And you said that's on all of them.
yeah. So standard across all of our models is parking mode. You get a really beautiful LCD screen, and then the Click and Go Pro mount, which is one of those underlooked, well designed pieces. One of my favorite pieces about the Dashcam,
Sure.
actually.
Now why, so on the flip side, I want the most dash cam, for my money. Why would they go with the 622? What does that offer?
Yeah, the 622 is our flagship model. It's 4K, from the baseline all the way to the top. We have 720, 1080p, 1440, and this is 4K. And this is really everything and plus more that you would need in a dash cam, not only in video recording quality, but safety, ease, and effort. So, this thing, just from a design perspective, it has 4K. It has a polarizing filter built in to reduce reflection off the dashboard and off the glass. It also has a lot of features that you'd find in some of the other models, like emergency SOS, which we talked about, Alexa, which we talked about. But really, where this thing starts excelling is it has a faster Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module, so that when you're downloading and uploading videos, it's a lot quicker. It also has image stabilization. It's really beautiful image stabilization, where what you would kind of expect from one of the best of the top line action cameras. It's off-roading, looks beautiful, bumpy roads, engine vibration, pretty much cleans it all up. It also has What Three Words, which is actually a really interesting feature. So What Three Words is it's a GPS system, a geolocation system, where they actually it's an app. It's actually an app that we embedded into the dash cam, so you don't need a data signal. But the what they did was they took the globe and turned the whole globe into one by one square meters. I'm sorry, squares that are 1 by 1 meters. So if I'm in that 1 meter, 1 square, then I can precisely identify where I am based on 3 words that I identified every square on the globe. So, for example, if I said, "Meet me here at my desk right now," then I would look up the What Three Words from the dash cam, and it'd say, "I am at these 3 words," and say the words are happy, um, guitar, and hand. Then if someone looked up the What Three Words GPS location on the app or through emergency services, they'll know exactly where we are without having to read out all the coordinates. It's actually a really great system. The guy who actually started it was a music promoter, and when he was having people meet him inside the music venue, it'd be really hard to tell people where he was exactly. So it was like, there's got to be a better way than explaining, like, "Meet me at this gate, and next to this speaker stack, blah 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 blah." And he said, let's grid out the world. Let's put every grid into give them assign each one a word value. And with that, he made What Three Words, and it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fascinating bit of tech. 'Cause I think one of the first automakers to jump on it, I think, was Jag Land Rover, and I I find it fascinating and it works really well. It's just like such a weird concept.
It's hard to
Like you
explain, but
like, for those who don't know about it, like, you pick those 3 words and they're like, why would he pick those words? But I've read about it. So I'm like, I know that is probably a place.
yeah.
And it's such a weird thing, but it does work really well for what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes sense that, like, Land Rover Jag, specifically Land Rover, uses it,
Right.
because it's really great for overlanding and
Mhm.
adventures. Like, you go overlanding and you say, "Oh, I'm going to go to my favorite favorite camp spot in the middle of nowhere. Now I can what three words exactly where I am and assign these three words and say, "Hey, homies," through my walkie-talkie or cell phone, meet me at what at these specific words, and everyone can just turn it into a meeting
Yep.
spot, or
Yep.
even an emergency situation where,
Oh
like I
yeah.
said, my I broke my arm. I'm mountain road dirt biking. I broke my arm. Come over to these three words and save me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, did when you guys designed or baked in the image stabilization into the 622, did you know it was going to be something you would aim towards off-roaders, overlanders, or was it kind of like somebody on your team was like, "Hey, this is pretty good on the trail."
No, we just aim to make the best image stabilization we possibly could, which ends up being capable of doing trail drives and whatever it may be. We know that people in their cars, people aren't limited into just the road, so we knew it had to be able to withstand some of the toughest terrain out there. So, it's actually fun testing it. When I first got my first sample, I was like, let's see how good this really is, because
Right.
you never really know. The tech team always tells you it's going to be great, and then you get it. And I took my mom's Land Cruiser through this to this off road, like a real 4x4 trail. It wasn't quite 4x4 where I was, but just to get it, it was only dirt road access and some serious trail. And I was like, oh, this is really good. It smoothed it all out. I was quite
Nice.
impressed.
Yeah, I'll be testing it in my truck now that my Montero is back together. For those of you listening, I got the parts and we'll be driving to some place, and I'm sure it'll be called like cat, sunfish, cloud, or wherever the directions take me. And I'm gonna pop that in and see if that's a place later. But yeah, so I'm excited to see that stuff. That's funny that it does potentially work so well off road, which is why on the Jag, my car behind me, I'm gonna put in a lesser one because I don't need to test the off road because I'm curious about the other side of the offerings. But I'm curious if this ever comes up in discussions because it's immediately where we're talking about the evolution of dash cams and where dash cams are going and the tech. I feel like this would be a conversation where somebody brings it up every 6 months and they're like, we cannot do that. But has anybody done a combo dash cam / radar detector?
They have. Yeah, there's another company that does it, and
Okay,
I actually don't know how well they work,
sure.
but I do know they exist. So
Okay.
yeah,
It's funny because I haven't seen it, and I was like, "That's the first thing my mind goes to," depending on which vehicle I'm driving. Not the Montero, not really this one either. Um, and then another thing, have you guys ever played around in like the motorsports space, like sponsored a team just to get some dash cams on some race cars for some cool race car views?
yeah. We have a couple things in progress right now that they're testing it right now. We have one that's going on a trophy truck in Baja. I can't give too much
Of
information on that
course.
one yet, but it's we really want to see how the image
Yeah.
stabilization stands up there. But if you're going to test it on a car, one of those is going to put it to the max, right?
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's a great thing. And then see if you can get into a super stadium truck
Yeah,
too, because those things send. Um, that'll be sweet. I look forward to learning more about that when you guys can talk about it. Now, just in terms of your personal dash cam world, do you have a favorite dash cam video?
um, of my own or of
Yeah.
that
No, no,
I've
like
watched.
one that you love. Like I got to go back and watch this one again. Like not for your stuff, but like just an in general favorite one.
Huh, there's too many. There's a lot. I think one of my favorites of recent times, it actually happened this year, and it was up in the Bay Area, like just south or just east of Tahoe, I think, like in Sacramento, between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe.
Mhm,
And it's these people just driving on a side road on access road, I guess near a freeway.
mhm.
But all you see is kind of flat road and fire road that they're driving through, and you see this car just Dukes a hazard out of nowhere and just land in front of them. It's straight like full Dukes a hazard, like a Gravedigger style air,
Yeah.
and they just land right in front of them. You're like, what the heck just happened? That was probably my favorite one of recent time. It just reminded me of the good old boys.
That's insane. That's insane. Now, what are your own vehicles, and do you have dash cams in them?
Yeah, yeah. So I have a Subaru 2008 Subaru that I trashed pretty good. So I got a dash cam in there, and that
Nice.
actually I have like mounts all over that car for different mounts and different testing. And
Oh, sure.
I literally just rotate through all my dash cams there. And then I actually got a an older Tesla that doesn't have a dash cam. Or
Oh,
it's like the older style before they have all the cameras all over it.
right.
So it's actually pretty useful to still have in there. And I actually have a 622 in the front and a cabin cam inside and another 622 in back and another rear camera on the side. Just I was testing out different angles
Yeah,
and
no,
seeing what I can do.
you've like homebrewed your own Sentry mode.
100%.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing.
nice. That's
Yeah.
funny. Awesome. Now, is there has anybody been using these on can they use your dash cams on motorcycles?
Yeah, you know what? People gotten pretty creative with motorcycles, side by sides, boats. I was even seen it on an airplane. Um, but yeah, no, people can use it. You know, it's we say it's made for a car, right?
Right.
The problem with motorcycles is that it's more exposed to the elements, and these things are not rated for weather in the way that a motorcycle may
Sure.
experience.
Absolutely.
But you know, there's a lot of motorcycles that have big enough windshields that will stop a you know any rain into accessing the camera, and will also you know with the removable mount once they're
Mhm.
not moving anymore, they can just pop it off. So
Oh, that's true.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's seasonal, of course. You know, a lot of people aren't riding in the rain, and people aren't riding in the snow. So you know, it, they do use it. Although I do say it is an automotive device at the moment.
Absolutely. I have a friend with a helicopter. We should try to get him to test one of these out. See if it can handle the vibrations of the helicopter.
Let's
That would
do
be
it.
a heck of a test.
Yeah, let's send
Might have
that.
to
Give me
loop
that
him in on
footage.
it.
I want
Yeah, right?
that.
That would be sweet. So Nextbase, to recap, Nextbase, the IQ is coming out. That lineup later this year. We got some cool stuff there. We've got the tons of modularity. We've got a price point for everybody. Where would you like everybody to follow Nextbase in terms of social media stuff?
Yeah, if you follow us at on Instagram at just Nextbase, we're there. We're also at Facebook, YouTube. I think those are at Nextbase Dashcams for the handle. But
Mhm.
yeah, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You know, we're at all the major stops. We're trying to build our presence a little bit larger on some of the other platforms like
Sure.
Reddit
Oh yeah.
and TikTok. But you know, really focusing on Instagram for now and those other ones.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and Instagram makes sense. TikTok seems like it could be if done right, a great breeding ground for dash cam based content.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard. TikTok is a difficult one. We got to make sure
Yeah.
because it's got such a different format that we
Yes.
just got, you know, we got to make sure that if we're going to do it, we always want to do things right when we do it,
Yeah.
that it makes sense and it's
No,
not just, you know,
you gotta come out with a dash cam marketing at teens where it's like vertical capturing of videos.
100%.
Yeah.
It's
Just
just going to
turn the
be teams inside the car using the cabin cam dancing with
Oh
their
yeah,
arms.
right. Fortnite dancing while they should be driving. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And then if you want, it's up to you. If you want to plug your own social media for people to follow you, you don't have to though.
If you want to, yeah, it's just Jeff. It's just at Jeff Chew. It's
Okay.
really,
And that's CHUH.
yeah.
And then for everybody else, Ron will be back next week at 777 Style. And go watch Ron's dash cam video because it's if you haven't seen it, it's a crazy video and it's really fun, which kind of started this whole conversation for us internally. I want to say thanks to Nextbase for giving us product to test. I've been wanting a dash cam for years, so this has been really fun. And then Jeff, thank you for coming on to help walk us through like where dash cams are, where they're going, and letting us learn more about your product. I really appreciate that. I think after we play with these dash cams some more, we're gonna have you come back on so maybe we can dive a bit more deeper into the guts of them, and then we can actually throw some likes and potential dislikes, consumer dislikes at you
Yeah.
too, to see what we find. But for now, I think we're good. This is a good place to start. And once again, thanks for coming on. And to everybody else, we will see you on the next episode.